Josh Herrin owns the #1 plate for a reason. And after a masterful performance from the front, yesterday he was untouchable. Josh Herrin takes victory in race #1. But both Bobby Fong and Cameron Beaubier tried to stay in touch. But the champ proved too strong. But now, with a good night's sleep and adjustments made, it's time to see who can roll out of Wisconsin with one more win. It's time to go racing. Yeah, it's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. This weekend, MotoAmerica Superbikes at Road America, our third round of 9 for 2025. From Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, it's Superbike time. Race #2 on deck. And after a crazy race yesterday and an unbelievable win from the front, we're here to do it all again. Welcome, everyone, to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, we thought that there were going to be a lot more contenders going after Josh Herrin, but the way things happened behind him, it got pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think every rider in the paddock felt that Cam Beaubier was going to be the guy to beat. But again, Josh Herrin finds a way to get to the front, never fell behind in this race, just kept pushing the pace. As you can see, it was Bobby Fong and Jake Gagne were the early challengers from a slow-starting #6 Cameron Beaubier. He would work his way up as we saw a crazy crash from Sean Dillon Kelly in turn 1 yesterday. Just happy he's okay. He'll be back today. Beaubier was able to draft past Fong. He had caught Herrin going into the last lap, only to run wide into turn 1. He would lose that position to Bobby Fong. This guy didn't know what was going on behind him because that's the only thing he saw out in front just to clear track for the #1. Gets his win here at Road America.
Yeah, and it all started for him for his championship run last year. And we look at the stats from last season. When you look at Barber Motorsports Park in Atlanta, he basically has said, not my best track. He only scored 47 points in the first 5 races last season, but 4 races this year, 59 points. So he's a lot closer than where he was, and he's already notched his first win of the season. Here's a live look at Bobby Fong.
Yeah, and this morning, Greg, I was lucky enough to rip down to the Attack Yamaha tent and have a quick little chat with him.
Honestly, I would like to stay with them in the beginning of the race because it always seems like I can make up a little bit of time in the middle. We tried a different front tire this morning. We're kind of unsure with the front tire yet, but it seemed like I was making a lot of time on the brakes, but this bike likes to roll. It likes to roll, and it seems like when the tire goes off, I can roll a little bit better than some of these guys. But honestly, you just have to go. Like, you just really have to just go completely deep. Like, it just balls to the wall for sure. And that's the only way you can really make up time, and you're just riding on the limit, which we do every weekend, but here you just gotta, it's a little bit more like this for sure on the brakes. But like I said, we learned a little bit from being behind Josh. The thing, his bike comes out of the corner is pretty good, but we need a little bit of momentum and get a good start and just try to be as close as I can to the draft as possible.
And after I went down to Bobby and talked to him, I was lucky enough to run down to the Titler's crew, ran into Cam Beaubier to see what he might be able to change today to get himself into that winning position.
Yeah, no doubt. We struggled a little bit yesterday, mainly just getting the bike stopped. Man, just the sheer power of the BMW was really allowing me to hang in there a little bit yesterday because I feel like we did miss the mark a little bit compared to qualifying and practice when we had a pretty good feel. But yeah, I mean, Josh and Bobby were riding really good at the front, and I was kind of yo-yoing. I made a couple mistakes going into turn 1 and a couple other spots that you guys probably didn't see on TV running wide, but made a couple changes this morning that I think will help us in the race. Went a little harder on the front tire, and yeah, a couple other little things that I think should help us in the race. So yeah, we'll see. It's always going to be tough to beat Josh and the Attack boys, but looking forward to a good race.
Yeah, and I think for Beaubier, he's really got the idea of what he wants to do in this 2024 machine that they continue to refine. But Jay, there's really a lot of people that are going to be changing their tire compounds. But let's get to the third member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa, who's right down there under the sunshine right now.
Sean Dillon Kelly very happy with a front row starting position this weekend. A little bit of bad luck yesterday during the race. We didn't quite see what happened. Why don't you take us through it in your own words?
Yeah, I had a little issue here at the start yesterday of race 1. Tried getting it figured out, but I was still at the back of the grid after the first lap and started to make my way through the pack. Clearly made a pretty big mistake and found myself in a pretty bad position coming to turn 1 on lap 2 or lap 3. And yeah, I had to end up doing the less bad, and I had to take myself out pretty much. So definitely a pretty bad one yesterday, but bike got the bike figured out. We're ready to roll, and today's a new day, so ready to get after it.
Always a positive attitude from Sean Dillon. Kelly, making our way down the grid here. Great starting position for Hayden Gillum, starting from the 6th position. With the Honda team this season, making big strides on this motorcycle. You've got some new parts throughout the season so far. Take us through it. Give us kind of a report card, if you will. I know you got a new swing arm potentially this weekend.
Yeah, we've got a new swing arm on the bike. We got the front end we've had for a little while. We got a little bit more power in the bike. We're trying stuff. We're getting there. It's slow going, but it's working. The rear of the bike seems a little bit better this weekend, so I've been able to get a little bit closer. But you know, this place I need a little bit more than that. So just having fun, improving this bike as much as we can every weekend, and yeah, see where we can end up.
Never count out Hayden Gillum. He is always one to fight as hard as he can throughout the race, guys.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you're talking about a bike that's going to continuously be developed over the course of the season as they continue to add parts, and it's just the way it is. But Jason, what Hayden Gillum was alluded to, especially on the horsepower front, is the fact that Road America here requires a motorcycle that can go awfully fast down some straightaways. So when you look at this race course, 4.048 miles long, you have all these straightaways, great passing spot in turn number 1, down the hill into turn number 5, where you're trying to get that thing, the Superbikes, from about 200 miles an hour down as slow as you can get it. And then you get up around the carousel, that can separate some riders, but it's all about that drive. Out of 14, if you are in the group, you're gonna wanna position yourself in the perfect spot. Now let's take a look at a little bit more intimate inside look to Road America, a place that not everybody can come ride with our Insta360 track.
You talked about 2 spots that are key, and this is that run from almost 200 mile an hour, Greg, down into turn 5. You see a lot of mistakes down here, but we have that runoff where we can go straight if we need to. We've seen some riders take advantage of that. Also, there's some good exit there. This is the carousel, another spot that Greg just spoke about. If you don't have a bike that works good at a lot of lean angle for a long period of time, you're going to struggle here at Road America, because as fast as your bike needs to be down the straights, it needs to get through that turn as fast as it can as well. And then this magic run up to the start-finish line here, new bridge that they put in, right to the checkered flag you see on your left.
Ah, what an awesome lap from the Insta360 camera. So Josh Herrin's third in the championship, but he is starting his run towards taking over the points lead. He wants to do it with another win. Can he do it back-to-back? We find out as race start happens in 4 minutes.
MotoAmerica Superbike is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. And by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash. Multiple race classes live on top sportsbook and DFS platforms all season long.
With you here live from Road America on MotoAmerica Live Plus. The question was asked, can Josh Herrin repeat that victory today? Roger Hayden, what do you think?
He definitely can. And, you know, Beaubier is going to be a little bit stronger today. And also Bobby had a good race yesterday, and he's going to be strong as well. But Josh Herrin is one of those
We heard the comments from Cameron Beaubier where he said, man, when this BMW is in the window, it is just so easy to ride. But when it's not, he's really having to fight through it. We had the morning warm-up this morning. Beaubier was obviously one of the riders that was out there working through the setup changes that they made overnight. How big of a challenge is it going to be for him to keep it up?
Well, the one benefit I think that they have is pretty much the exact same conditions we had yesterday in the first race. So, you know, they're able to, the track temperature is going to be pretty close. But his team has always been able to, Tyler Cycle guys, make his bike when he has struggled on Saturday be a little bit better on Sunday.
Bobby Fong was able to finish the race second yesterday. A great back-to-back podium result for him when you go back to Road Atlanta. It was his third podium of the season so far, but he said this one was tough. He thought he was going to wreck almost every single lap, especially there towards the end of the race. as a rider, that risk versus reward, how do you manage it?
Well, the risk for Bobby is the BMW and the Ducati both are really fast on top speed. So Bobby's having to make that up on the brakes. And because he's braking so deep, that's where he's talking about he's on the limit. He's taking a lot of risk. You'll see him make a lot of time up down into turn 5. Even though he's able to make the move, you're taking a lot more chances there to go down. So for Bobby, I think he's smart enough early on, as he said, to go and try to get in that battle where he doesn't have to take so many chances to try to close down the gap.
We had Sean Dylan Kelly out on the grid there talking to Hannah, a little subdued after the incident yesterday. He, of course, was able to go out this morning in the warm-up session. How do you put it behind you and go out for a new clean day today?
It's hard, especially when you had a big crash like Sean had yesterday, but Sean's got some experience. Even though it's only his second year in Superbike, he knows how to put those big crashes behind him. And the big team, he went out in the warm-up this morning, was a little bit off of what we've seen throughout the weekend, but he looks like he's ready to go racing.
The pace has been picked up through the races that we've had so far here this afternoon. This is a 12-lap race for the Superbike riders. We know they're on the harder options that Dunlop has in their line of tires. How do they save them to get to the checkered flag?
Well, some of the riders in the front's not going to try to save it.
Let's watch along. Roger, we'll send it back over to Greg and Jason.
Welcome back to Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Superbike starting grid for race number 2. Beaubier, 209.963.
Herrin, Sean Dylan Kelly, Bobby Fong, Jake Gagne, and Hayden Gillum. And we have Escalante, who went really quick this morning in warm-up. Greg Yates, Benjamin Smith, Flinders, Kornbaugh, and J.D. Beach. A couple of our stock 1,000 contenders are in this race too. Danilo Lewis, De Silva, Waters, Arango, Dion Campbell, and Keith Pinkstaff. And then Joe Giannato, Storniello, and Brian Pinkstaff are going to round out your field. So we'll talk a couple things I talked with Bobby Fong about today and see if those made a difference.
Here we go. 12 laps scheduled in this one. And Josh Herrin with a little bit of a bobble, but Cameron Beaubier got a good launch. Oh man, what?
Oh, two guys got together. That's Gagne for sure. Looked like him and STK got together. So Jake's going to have to, that's such a bummer. And anytime something happened, you can see something happened with Sean Dylan Kelly when that happened. I saw him go across, and him and Gagne got together early. And now STK's race looks like it's very compromised, as does Jake Gagne. I never saw Jake come out of turn 1. So a couple of our main guys right off the bat are out.
He was out on the grass.
Yeah.
Draft and pass for the lead as Cameron Beaubier heads down in turn 5 for the first time. Herrin got to be late on the brakes and block that move. All the while, Bobby Fong in 3rd spot.
How about Benjamin Smith's in 4th? This young guy yesterday didn't get to ride. He's going to get passed up the hill from Escalante, but a tremendous start from Benjamin Smith on the 78. He's running 5th. And let's have a look at this again. So you see STK. STK just kind of moved his way over to the left and touches Gagne. Man, that could have been so bad. And Gagne gets shoved off the track. Lucky he hits one of the pylons there. Is that?
That's like a time.
I think it's a timing and scoring. Yeah,
element,
it's a beacon for timing and scoring. You can see STK, looking at that. I'd love to see it one more time, but it looked like STK kind of made a sharp turn over to the left where Gagne was accelerating. And we'll see if either one of them continued or not. This is kind of where Beaubier wants to be, isn't it, Greg, off the bat? He's going to be on a new, harder Dunlop front tire. He went to the 5 today, so he was talking to me a little bit in that interview, a little bit about having a feeling in the front that he wasn't as happy with. He was on the R3 front yesterday, a little softer compound. Maybe get something with a little bit more rigidity and something that's going to be maybe not flexing as much or whatever it could be for him that he's looking for. And so he's right in the spot he wants to be in. This time yesterday, if you remember, he was a couple seconds back right off the bat.
And we go on to the front straightaway for the first time as well. And the BMW has been really fast here at Road America. So up the hill they go. That Ducati is also lightning off the corner, but it's got to be the draft and pass maneuver. No, looks like Beaubier is going to hang tight for the moment. Josh got a great run out of the final corner. And so Herrin's going to lead us on the first lap.
Herrin's in deep. Herrin's in deep. When you see a rider get that tight that early, that means they're in deep. It's good you notice it as well. But that's all it was. He's just creating space, creating room.
In talking to Josh Herrin's crew chief, Simone, one of the things that they wanted to work on today was allowing more rear wheel spin for Herrin. And when he got in there that deep, it looked like he got on the gas and tried to steer the motorcycle just a little bit more with the rear end of the bike. So Herrin on that Warhorse, HSBK Racing Ducati.
It's a lot harder to do that when the tires are brand new as well. So that thing's not going to spin as much and maybe give you what you're looking for. So right now, Cam's just going to pace himself a little bit here with Herrin and look and see what he can do. He's going to probably make a decision within a couple of laps if he thinks he has the speed to try to get by Herrin and get away. He will. If not, he'll park himself on the back of the number one. Both these guys have been around for a long time. You see, looks like Hunter Seiling's going to work there on the inside handlebar or clutch lever or something there. Maybe he bent his clip on. So we're trying to get that thing back into position. Just a bummer weekend for SDK, as we know how good this guy is, and sorry to see him in the pits.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll get out and get some more laps in, as Jake Gagne circulating back in 17th place on the racetrack. So there goes the Vision 11 4XR Suzuki rider, and Josh Herrin with a huge moment. Something happened.
He went through the grass a long way, too. He went through the grass a long, long way. So we'll see if we got a replay of that, but Herrin obviously made a small mistake down into the chicane. Bobby Fong has kind of not been a no factor so far in the first lap and a half or so of this race. He's a little further back than we saw him yesterday, Greg. Now, talking to Bobby this morning before he went into the truck to do his debrief, I kind of trapped him and talked to him real quick about the things that we think that he can change today. He did go to the R5 front this morning, I believe, in practice, but they also made a small change to the bike. He was a 6/10 slower through the carousel. He was going in the trailer to discuss with Richard whether it could be the tire or it could be something that they changed. So obviously seeing him falling back a little bit further at the beginning of this race, maybe the change isn't working.
Yeah, it might not be working, or maybe he needs a little bit of the tire to come in. By the way, play MotoAmerica for cash. Superbike, Baggers, and Super Sport Series are now live on top sportbooks and DFS platforms. Scan the flow code or visit nxtbets.com/PlayMA to see what's available in your location. Sign up and claim exclusive bonuses and make your picks now. So we don't necessarily have a look of what happened to Josh Herrin, but we're going to be looking at these lap times. Is 2:10.7 fastest lap of the race for Beaubier, a 2:11.7 for Herrin, even running off the track. So we know Herrin's got plenty of pace, and it looks like he's closing that 1/8 of a second gap ever so slightly to the 6th.
Well, for Josh, he's going to know pretty quickly if he's got the pace. Both of these riders, I believe, were in the 10s this morning in warm-up. So the 2:10 range is about where both of these riders can live as far as lap times go. And an unusual mistake from Josh, even though sadly we didn't get to see it. It's not a mistake that we see him make very often. For this guy, Bobby Fong, is kind of riding alone in 3rd place right now. He lost half a second in the first split and essentially 3 to 4 tenths in the second split did Bobby. So he just doesn't quite have it underneath him as of right now. This guy, Escalante, 2:12 flat on his first flying lap. Keep in mind, yesterday, Richie was quite a bit off the pace. This morning when I spoke to him, he was pretty confident, Greg. He's like, I got into the 11s. And what he's looking for right now on the 54 is to have that first practice Friday morning where he has a bike that just works for him immediately so he can get on pace quicker. It seems right now that he eventually finds the pace he needs to get to, but he's a little late in the weekend doing it. And you can see right now as we look back up at the front here, Herrin has drawn back into the back. This is going to be a fast lap for Herrin as he's read all the way across our board. This is going to be a low 2:10 for the number 1 Ducati, and besides the number that he's going to put up, it's going to give him a boatload of confidence.
So P1 for the Titan Cycle Racing, Cameron Beaubier, 2:10.0 and a 2:09.471 for Josh Herrin, chasing down Cameron Beaubier after his off-track excursion. That is absolutely ripping.
Yeah, but that's nothing that you wouldn't expect from him. I mean, Beaubier goes 2:10 flat, which I believe is the fastest race week, and Cameron just makes a mistake. So again, he could be struggling some with that front tire again, Greg, possibly, or not the tire itself, just the front end feel that you're looking for as a rider. You could tell he was very tentative on tip end, was the number 6. And by the time he got to mid-corner, he actually started to stand the bike back upright. The pace at the front looks a lot quicker than it was yesterday at this point.
The fastest lap here at Road America for a MotoAmerica Superbike, 209.025 by Josh Herrin back in 2023 in race number 2. So that 209.47, a couple of tenths off. But there is Bobby Fong. Hannah?
And a lonely race for Bobby Fong. Jason Pridmore, you were able to shed some light on bike setup and things that he was discussing with the team. When I talked to Bobby, we talked a little bit more about rider strategy and what he can do on the motorcycle as the rider. And he said, you know, unfortunately, he's unable to utilize the draft in his racecraft, but he said to be an absolute madman on the brakes. We know he's great in a battle. Unfortunately, right now, he's going to have to exercise some serious patience as he clicks off these laps. And while we know he's strong in a battle, patience is also a strength of Bobby's.
Well, the hardest part, Greg, about a track like Road America is even if you're a very, very good braker, it's exhausting because what ends up happening is you're consistently on the limit at a place with the highest risk, okay? So when you start to think about risk and riding, when you're trailing off into a corner and you're braking a lot deeper than everybody, especially from 190 mile an hour, your risk level goes up. If you don't feel like you can get close enough to draft guys on the exit of the corners, then you continuously run into corners harder and harder. And you think how many laps we have and how many places they brake as deep as they can, that can be very exhausting, not physically, but you're putting a lot of wear and tear on that front tire.
So Josh Herrin, to the stripe we go, and after setting that 209.471, he backs that up with a 211.537 and a 211 flat and a 211.537 for Cameron Beaubier. This is starting to get a little accordion-like between these two.
It's between the draft, okay? So Herrin made that mistake. He was able to get a tiny bit of the draft up the front straightaway, a tiny bit of the draft down this one and the front straightaway. So that's where you see almost a second difference just there. And keep in mind, he did check up probably just a little bit when Cam made his mistake in turn 3. Beaubier, though, has been able to sit there. Going back to something Hannah said, I talked to Cam Beaubier this morning about how there are times when you and I are sitting in the booth and he'll be falling back, and I've counted him out, and I said, I'm never making the mistake again, Cam. And I went on to discuss with him, when you don't have the feel under the bike and you do that and you kind of fall back, is that just a way of you kind of trying to get the feeling back of what is missing so that you can learn how to ride the bike in a different way, and then you can chew back into the times? And he looked at me and goes, yeah, I guess you're kind of right. That's kind of what I'm doing. I kind of feel what the bike's giving me. If I can't ride it the way I want, I got to make adjustments as a rider. And, you know, that's incredible that he can do that going this fast.
Hannah.
And Jay, I couldn't agree with you more. He told me he couldn't ride the bike like he normally can. Having that harder compound on the front for some more support certainly made the difference today for him. He said he felt worse than you could visibly see yesterday. He looks composed on the bike, but he doesn't feel as composed on the bike as you would normally see out of Cameron Beaubier. He said this bike has a very finite window of optimal operation. So when it's in that window, it's smooth sailing, but outside that window, he's riding a lot harder than he has to for the same results.
Yeah, and Hannah, as a rider, you get to kind of know within about that 5-6 lap window here. I know the laps are longer here, but probably within the next 2 or 3 laps, we're going to kind of see what both riders have underneath them. They're going to have some wear on their tires. They've already felt each other out a little bit in the sense of who's going to be strong where. Beaubier knows that when he goes by Herrin, he's going to get an immediate response as far as Josh doesn't want to follow. Josh is a fighter, and he's going to fight back right away. So right now, it doesn't just become a physical game, it's a mental game as well, of trying to discover where your competitor is going to be a little better, a little worse, and then you can start to plan, say, Greg, like the last quarter of your race in.
Yeah, so here we are with just under 7 laps to go in this 12-lap affair, and Josh Herrin has been in control of the race since he took the lead the last time, even though he made that one mistake that we didn't catch. 210.7. We're in this kind of the settle down mode of this race, right? Like, let's go ahead and just get this thing going. They've already split. Herrin and Beaubier have a 3.4-second lead over Bobby Fong, who last time by, Fong set his personal best time, but Bobby's doing 2:11. Jake Gagne has worked his way up to 11th place.
Yeah, and after being in the grass for a long period of time, Gagne, who's just gone through on Danilo Lewis. His next guy up in front of him will be Kornbau, and JD Beach Ashton Yates just up the road a little further. So Gagne's still out there trying to get some points. Keep in mind, I think he's second in points right now, is Gagne. So he's got to try to get himself up there with Beaubier there in a battle with Herrin. A little bit further back, there's Bobby Fong. He's kind of kept that gap, Greg, around that 3.5 second mark, and 2:11.2 last time through for Bobby Fong, his fastest lap of the race. And Beaubier again. Cameron looks pretty good from like turn 7 down all the way through here. And you know, when you're going down through here, Greg, at Road America, it's such a neat feeling. You're going through what used to be a bunch of trees that used to cover the track. It's very narrow down through there. And you almost feel like you're on a really nice road down through that section, except for you're doing 180 mile an hour. And then you got to brake hard for Canada Corner. Then this is all back uphill. And this is where the Ducati actually looks really good to me. Herrin looks like he rolls off into the last corner really, really nicely and gets out of it even better.
That's it, right there where he gets on the gas.
That's right.
And the Ducati just has that acceleration off the corner. And Herrin knows how to get behind the bubble. And the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati, that's a Panigale V4R. Beaubier, of course, on the Tytler Cycles BMW M1000RR. Then, of course, Tytler Cycles just up the road in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So this is a home race for Beaubier's team. And they would like nothing more than to see a win. We got to look back, though, on the left part of your screen and tip the cap to Benjamin Smith.
Absolutely.
The number 78 had a great start on his Flow for Law SBU Racing Yamaha R1, and he's doing a great job holding on to 5th place at the moment. Hayden Gilliam, who Hannah talked to as well, 2:12.2, his best time as they continue to develop that Superbike. The number 69 in the Real Steel Honda.
There goes Bobby Fong coming in here. Again, Greg, about a 2:11.2, so he's a half second off. Is Bobby right now on the attack Yamaha. He's just doesn't quite have the feel he's looking for like he did yesterday. Because if you remember yesterday, he kept Herrin very, very honest throughout the entire race. And he was able to dig deep in the middle portion of the race where it looked like he was just losing touch. Beaubier went by him then and so on. A little further back, we're going to get into this battle. There's Escalante. And how about there's Benjamin Smith right behind. Happy to see Richie doing a little bit better today than yesterday. 2:12 flat is his best time. Last time through 2:12.5. And he's got to try to keep this pace up because this young man right here on the 78 along with Hayden Gilliam is moving forward. Now the disadvantage for Benjamin is the team had a little problem yesterday in the second qualifying session. They thought they had it fixed for race 1 only to find out that they didn't. So Benjamin didn't get those laps, those crucial laps that we talk about getting in race 1 just to see if they need to make any setup changes overnight for race 2. This team's young, they're coming into their own, they've got a great setup in our paddock, and they got the right rider on the bike. So Benjamin doing a nice job right now, and he'd love to get onto the back of that 54.
Yeah, on that Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki of Richie Escalante out of Mexico. That's a GSXR 1000. And of course, Escalante is having a better run, but 2:12 flat of his best lap. So Escalante back there in 4th, still circulating about half a second off of his fastest lap, showing that consistency. With 5 to go, now Herrin comes across the stripe. 189 miles an hour in our speed trap speed, which is not the exactly fastest part of the racetrack. We know that these bikes going into turn 5 before they roll off the throttle are just shy of 200 miles per hour on the fastest of the bikes that we have. But Beaubier goes fastest trap speed, chasing Josh Herrin.
They're literally doing 2:10.7s and 2:10.8s like the last 2 or 3 laps in a row. That just seems like the comfortable pace for everybody. You can see Cam under braking upright looks a lot more comfortable than he did yesterday. He's drawing up onto the back of Josh into 5. He's doing the same thing when they go down into Canada Corner also. He just kind of draws up onto the back of that Ducati. But Herrin gets that bike turned so well and gets out of the corners so well. And in racecraft, obviously, it's something that is a strong point too.
Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha Racing's Bobby Fong, coming off of a Yamaha R1 Privateer effort from last year, was able to ride his way onto the factory racing squad. And Bobby doesn't look like he is taking it easy at all. He is still working the motorcycle as hard as he can. Now 4.7 seconds back from these two. This battle is not over yet, but this is the part of the racetrack where Beaubier seems to be really dialed in, gets good drives. But it's really that turn 14 area. Is Beaubier going up alongside? No, not this time.
But you know what? This is the thing I talk about a lot. Herrin knew that he was there. And give gives Cam a little spot, little space. I mean, that's just good rider awareness between two very, very experienced riders. And the thing is, you don't want to pinch anybody off going down through that section. It's very tight down on that run to Canada corner. And if you hear a guy kind of up alongside of you, you want to give them a little bit of room. And it felt to me that time like you saw Herrin do it, but look how well he is from the apex out of the corner. The number one, he knows exactly the speed he needs to be at the apex, and he fires that Ducati out and pulls away. And if that was the last lap of the race, Cam doesn't have any chance of kind of being able to draft. It wouldn't appear at that point.
Right, so for Beaubier, if he's giving it everything he has out of that final corner, then his race strategy has got to be about midway through this lap, because we don't really, like, Beaubier's got to be, I don't even know, leading.
But you see these corners, Greg, where they can kind of roll through the middle of it, so that's very reminiscent of the last turn 14. In corners where they got to get the bike slowed and pointed, the BMW actually still looks pretty good, even though we'd expect the Ducati to jump out. It doesn't. So when they get down into the chicane or even a corner like this, the BMW looks like it can come off the corner with Josh. But when Josh gets into these kind of medium fast type of turns where you can roll, the Ducati's roll speed along with acceleration, Josh just has that time perfect. He's got it. He's riding the bike the way that it needs to be ridden. Even there's not a big gap that Cam can close up on the exit. So under braking here, Cam looks good. And then if you watch out of the chicane, where they'll be here in a couple seconds, Cameron can draw up on the back of him and get up by close to him down to Canada corner. But in some of these medium fast type turns,
oh man, down!
There it is.
He loses the front, a big tumble, and there goes that BMW.
Oh.
And Josh Herrin now with the pressure on Cameron Beaubier. Beaubier loses it, and now Herrin has got himself a 5-second lead.
Such a horrible spot to do it. Hope Cam's going to be okay there. It looked like he just kind of slid into the gravel. As they're going to get a chance to look here, Greg. A lot of lean angle. You can see Cam's doing just fine right up behind him, and there's the front. The front just goes. And let's look and see if Cam does too many flips. Yeah, he does. Ooh. So we're going to hope that Cam's going to just pop up from that. You see Bobby Fong go by. We're hearing Cam Beaubier is up. He's okay. When Josh Herrin comes onto the front straightaway this time, he's going to see +5 on his board. And I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a little look over his shoulder out of turn 1 or turn 3 to see if what he just read, just to kind of validate it. Hey, make sure my crew isn't messing with me. And what a weekend so far for the number 1. He's got 6.4 second lead over Beaubier as it goes down here into turn 3.
He's still pushing at 2:10.6 last time by for Josh Herrin, but that also moves Bobby Fong into the second place. That's going to move Richie Escalante into a podium position on his Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki. And Benjamin Smith has been relegated backwards. That moves Hayden Gillum on the Honda up to 4th place, but he is 6.8 seconds behind Richie Escalante. So with 2.5 laps to go, here's another look, or here is the look at, was this JD Beach, Ashton Yates. So JD's on the number 95. That's a Real Steel Honda. You have Ashton Yates, the number 27, on the Jones Honda. And then you have Benjamin Smith, who we talked about earlier on the Flow for Law SBU Racing Yamaha R1. He was in a great spot.
I wonder what happened to Benjamin, because he was ahead of Hayden last time we saw. He was kind of closing the gap down to Escalante, and now he's behind both of these guys. As we look at Ashton Yates, who did really well in a race earlier. What you got on him, Hannah?
Ashton told me that this is kind of a tough track for him here because of his size and those long straightaways, but they've made progress with the bike, really built on last season. He has much more confidence in the team and the setup and himself as a rider, and they keep getting new bits and bobs here along the way. They're still waiting for some more to come down the pipeline this season. He's also running fairly similar bikes for Stock 1000 and Superbike, and so that's helping him get a lot more track time, more seat time, and familiarize himself with setup.
Yeah, one of the things that you look at the Honda CBR 1000 RR SP2 is that it's a small looking motorcycle, and so Ashton Yates being, 6'3", 6'4", he looks a lot of elbows and a lot of shoulders on there is what he was talking about. But it's a great looking machine and so fast.
Yeah, something really weird must have happened between Hayden and Benjamin somewhere, because they've dropped over 6 seconds as Benjamin Smith's trying to work his way back through now. He goes underneath Ashton Yates down into Canada corner. They were within a couple of seconds of Escalante, and there's a 6-second gap now between Escalante and Hayden Gillum. So something weird must have happened. A 2:15 flat for Gillum on his last lap through. We'll see what he does this time. But now Benjamin Smith's on the comeback trail. As you see, Escalante's got a big gap behind him. Escalante running a 2:12.2. His lap times are extremely consistent in the very, very low 2:12s. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened in that battle for 5th, because that's a pretty key mistake from Beaubier. There could have been 3 or 4 other riders involved in this battle for 3rd, but right now Escalante's got it on his own.
Can't imagine this is a favorite place of Cameron Beaubier after the luck he's had the last couple of years.
And he's won so much here.
I know.
I mean, let's not forget, you said yesterday I think he's the winningest rider.
Yeah.
So it's one or the other, it seems, right now for Cam, unfortunately. But man, again, Herrin won race 2 here last year, and that really propelled him onto his championship. He's going to come out of here at Road America, if all things go right, in the next lap and a half with a double victory on his Warhorse HSBK Ducati.
Yeah, Josh Herrin riding on a lot of passion. New twins born Monday, Aiden and Palmer. And of course, he has his son Griffin at home and wife as well, watching their dad get the job done as he was applying all the pressure. He had pressure from Beaubier, and Herrin was able to just shrug it off, and it was too much for Beaubier to stick with him.
It is the best feeling when you're at a track like Road America, where everybody loves, everybody thinks it's the greatest spot, and you know there's nobody that can draft you. You know, when you come out and you see on your pit board +5, you just think to yourself, wow, this is great. And you feel like you're riding in a big park here. That's what it feels like. And on a day like today, it's sunny, it's beautiful, track's perfect, conditions are great. Nothing better than seeing +5 or 6 on your board. Or 7 in this case.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, 7.66 the last time they came by. And Herrin on his way up the straightaway to take the white flag. The final lap here at Road America 2025, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And Herrin gets the information, the white flag flies. As we await the arrival of Bobby Fong to come across the stripe, and Benjamin Smith is now caught back up to Hayden Gillum. This is the battle for 4th place. Once again, Benjamin Smith on that full-blown Superbike, as competitive as anyone that the Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha crew has. Up the front straight, you can see the power of that Yamaha R1 just rip right by the 69 of Hayden Gillum, so that moves Benjamin Smith into 4th spot.
Something's going on with Hayden, though, because he's getting caught by his teammate there and Ashton as well. But Benjamin's done a nice recovery job here. And I'll tell you right now, after their luck yesterday, Benjamin Smith to finish 4th, that'll feel like a victory. And I think he probably could have been closer had he not had problems, because he did go a 2:12.3 as his best lap. And on this last lap, he went 2:12.7. But this guy is not really going to be caring too much about that battle for 4th or 5th or anything like that. He's thinking about banking another 25 points.
If you want to talk about someone who has to go to work and love his job, this is the guy right here, Josh Herrin. He absolutely loves to ride a motorcycle. He loves to ride it fast. He loves to ride it free. And I'm sure that there's a huge smile under his helmet right now as he makes his way around this Road America road course for the final time of the 2025 season. And what a race he has had. And he did it from the front. Nobody gave it to him. He worked so hard for it as he has a look around. And there's Bobby Fong in 2nd place. 8.9 seconds behind is the number 50. Still riding hard.
Big day for points for him as well. And there's Escalante coming into our picture. Something going on. He's shaking his head, Greg. I don't know if something's going on with the bike, but he's shaking his head. Yeah, something's going on. It's running out of gas. Something's happening. It's running not good. If Benjamin Smith, how far back was he, Greg? He was only
11 seconds back.
A long way back.
But here comes Herrin. So we'll have to see about Richie Escalante. Josh Herrin with a long look over his shoulder. Up the top of the hill he comes with a wheel in the air. Shaking his head, takes a checker flag, and win number 2. And here comes Bobby Fong and his Yamaha. He'll crest the hill, and he's home.
Now we gotta sit here and wait, don't we?
If Escalante can nurse this Suzuki home. Oh, that thing sounds a little bit rough. And there is Benjamin Smith. Can Escalante get this thing to the top of the hill? Benjamin Smith, as Escalante has to look over his shoulder, and he is able to hold on and take his visual M4 X-Star Suzuki 2 winner circle.
After seeing what's happened to Escalante at Daytona with running out of gas and things like that, I did not want to see the poor guy not on the podium again. So good that that bike finished for him.
We'll see if he's able to get around the track on this one, JP.
Yeah, it's a cool-off lap, though.
There is the option, I think, to go down into turn 5, and maybe, but I'm not sure if you can get into the pits. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
Out of our pay grade.
This guy, our pay grade.
You know, the thing about Josh right now is he just looks happy all the time, and he can stunt ride. He can do it all. I mean, I literally beyond just having twins, and he just is happy with his team. You know, and they got a very team environment there. He's happy on the bike, and man, when you do that and you get results, it just continues.
The biggest thing for us, I think, after obviously seeing Herrin win and celebrate, is the fact that Cameron Beaubier was up and okay.
Yeah, that's the main thing too.
Last time he was down at this racetrack, it wasn't good for Beaubier, but we'd love to see him compete at the next round, of course, at the Ridge, in less than a month's time. But for Josh Herrin, we've talked about it. This is where his championship run started, Cam Beaubier or not, and Herrin is going to leave Road America with a maximum of 50 points. Cannot wait to hear from Herrin about how this race unfolded for him. Hannah's going to have that when we get back from this quick break.
Great little dance from Josh Herrin there on this cool down lap. Made you even laugh a little bit, Roger.
He looked good. Looks like my dance moves.
Josh Herrin, certainly worthy of a celebration. We were looking at the lap charts there, and he was able to go down to the 209 range in race trim.
You know, with Josh, the last couple years, what he did this race is Josh Herrin doing Josh Herrin things, going out there early on and setting a really tough pace. You mentioned the lap times, the consistency. He forced that mistake. He pressured to make that mistake because of the pace that he set was so fast. And, you know, Bobby mentioned it yesterday. They were taking huge risks to keep up with Josh, and he got a good win today. And let's see what happens for the rest of the season.
Going to the last lap there, the problems that we saw for Richie Escalante, that long run up the hill, the gap, the lap prior was over 11 seconds. The only pad that he had between himself and Benjamin Smith when he crossed his drive was less than 3.
Yeah, and everybody could feel for Richie Escalante. He's had a lot of bad luck. He didn't want to see that. And for Richie, he has struggled this weekend, and he stayed at it and kept his head down, and ends up on the podium this weekend. So that could be another start for his year as well, able to get going.
Rest of the podium finishers, Bobby Fong. Now 3 podium finishes in a row when you go back to the podium that he had in race number 2 back at Road Atlanta. He's on a pretty solid run here, just steady performance. Quiet.
Yeah, just consistency, being on the podium, and those points are going to start to stack up. He just didn't have it today to go with Josh and Beaubier from the very beginning.
Yeah.
See Josh Herrin there, you could hear him talking about that 9.4. He knew he had the pace.
Bike was good. I did better than this for those 2 gears. They're going to be proud.
It's a great relationship that we have with Audio Technica to be able to hear some of these conversations. Geraldo Baracci there, Fast by Baracci celebrating with Josh Herrin. You could hear it. The bike was good.
Follow you.
Yeah, the brakes he struggled on.
No, sector 1 was so good. The last corner was so good.
Talking about Simone. Talking about the brakes.
It's just awesome, you know. These guys just won a Superbike race, and they're already thinking about where they were good and where they struggled at.
Yeah, he would push I think he pushed really hard, thinking this is my chance, and I caught him. That's a baby. He had to have been like, holy shit. He said, whoa.
You agree with what Josh Herrin was thinking of watching the race from up here, Roger, that He was just pushing really hard.
Yeah, I think that was.
Beaubier.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing, just pushing to keep up with Josh, and he had his strong suits, and through there, Beaubier was just, these guys are so close to being on the limit. All it takes is one little mistake, and you could see what happened.
See the top 3 riders getting to their marks over in the podium area. We will hear from them with Hannah Lopa in just a couple of moments. Quickly, before we send it back, what do you take away from this race?
Well, I think let's take away with Josh what he's been able to do all weekend and earn those 2 victories and the pace that he showed. Cam Beaubier didn't have the races that he wanted to have this weekend, but he is going to be strong when we go to the Ridge next round.
Don't want Josh Herrin to get ahead, and that's what he's starting to do. Let's go back to Greg and Jason.
There's the Tytler Cycles BMW M1000 RR. This guy, well, he had something to do with it. On the back of that 2:09.471. What an absolute ripper of a lap, and only 4/10 off his best time ever here at a 2:09 flat back in 2023. And man, that was incredibly fast and so consistent. Now here's a look at how the results played out. So Herrin gets himself an 8.6 second margin of victory. Escalante, 25 seconds back. He gets the Suzuki GSX-R 1000R on the podium. Benjamin Smith, JD Beach, Hayden Gillum, Ashton Yates. Yeah, Gillum fell in the clutches. But Hannah is with our winner right now.
Well, a great start to the week for Josh Herrin with the birth of his newborn baby twin girls, and now he can return home to them with a first place trophy in hand for each of them. Josh, a really great weekend for you. Take us through it.
Yeah, that was, I wasn't expecting, honestly, to get 2 wins this weekend for sure. It was, when I ran off in the grass there in the chicane after the carousel, I knew if I didn't put in a really hard lap to catch Cam, I figured he was putting his head down and try to get away from me as far as he can. So I needed to put in as hard of a lap as I could and try to at least close the gap a little bit. I didn't expect to close it in 1 lap for sure, do that 9.4. I was surprised when I saw that time pop up on the screen. So I think that was a huge part of the race for me, being able to put the pressure on him a little bit. And then when you saw him kind of run wide, it was because a tear-off went right into our line. It was kind of breeze, just picked it up, dropped right in front of his front tire, and he had to avoid it. And then when he went by it, it kicked it up and moved it in my line, so we both kind of had to avoid it. So it was an exciting race. Hopefully Cam's okay. I saw his bike over there on the air fence in the carousel. That's a fast crash. So yeah, I hope he's all right. But I'm just super excited to get the double, only the second double of my career in Superbike. So hats off to the whole Warhorse HSBK Racing team. Thanks to Danny, Hong. Max is back in Italy. We got Brian as a replacement this weekend. Kyle, Bobby, everybody that's involved. I appreciate everything they do for me. And again, like I said yesterday, huge shout out to the fans here at Road America. It's after coming here for 20 years, it's so good to see this many people packed into this place. I ran out of my merch this weekend. I brought 250 shirts here this weekend, sold all of them, so it was pretty crazy. So thank you guys for all the support, and I can't wait to come back next year.
Thanks, Josh. Guys.
Yeah, the 2-time talking about the largest Superbike weekend at Road America ever, and they love to see the #1 get the job done here, and it has been a spectacular win and weekend for Josh Herrin. Let's get down to Hannah, who has our second place finisher.
Second place today for Bobby's Fong, and a solid points haul this weekend despite being such a lonely race for you. Take us through the rider mindset. What are you thinking about when you're completely by yourself like that?
Honestly, it is a little boring out there, but we want to be closer to Josh and Cam. Hopefully Cam's okay, and my attack performance, progressive Yamaha has been good all weekend. It's really good to get to second place this weekend, get a little closer in the championship, and congrats to Richie. It's pretty cool to see him up here. He's been a long-time buddy, and we're looking forward to the Ridge, and we're just going to keep the ball rolling.
Big smiles from Bobby Fong.
Yeah, he's done an outstanding job and really proven to everybody why he deserved this ride this season with those podium finishes that he's had so far in the year. And of course, we're going to a place where it's twisty, turning up and downhill, and we expect to see that Yamaha doing well at the Ridge. Let's get back down to Hannah.
Well, getting some confidence back has been a topic of conversation between Richie and myself this weekend. This certainly has to bolster that quite a bit. A third place finish for you. Tell us about your race.
Yes, for sure. I think today I have a little bit lucky, to be honest. But anyway, I'm super happy to the progress during the weekend. I'm really happy with the bike right now, so congrats to Josh and Bob. I hope Cam is good. Yeah, I'm super happy. Thanks to my team, Vision William for Extra Suzuki. He's making steps. Well, I really want to fight for the podium, but I'm a little bit closer. And yeah, I can't wait for the Ridge and Laguna. It's a special tracks for us. And yeah, see you there. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Richie. Guys.
Oh, yeah. We know that Richie can really, really tear the Ridge up, and I'm sure they're looking forward to that as well. Well, Josh Herrin waving to the crowd after his big victory, and our coverage continues from MotoAmerica after this.
We talk a lot about momentum in racing, Roger. 2 wins here at one of his favorite racetracks for Josh Herrin. What kind of momentum is this going to give him going into round 4 at the Ridge?
And he's strong at the Ridge as well, so he's just going to give him tons of momentum. And we mentioned a lot this weekend how he's had a lot going on this week. He even mentioned that he's tired, and now he gets a couple weeks to go and enjoy his new twins and regroup and refresh and head in to the Ridge with all the momentum.
Bobby Fong carrying momentum as well with a string of podium finishes under his belt. He's moved himself up into 3rd in the championship point standings, right behind Josh Herrin, who is now only 2 points back from Cameron Beaubier. Things heating up as we move towards the summer. We're going to step away, take a quick break, and we'll be back with more from MotoAmerica right after this.
Get ready to eat like a king with Mission Foods. Load up those saddlebags for Mission King of the Baggers Racing and feed your need for flavor. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy-to-make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Hi, my name's Josh Marsh, Trade Marketing Manager at Aprilia Americas. We're here at Daytona International Speedway for the opening round of the SC Projects Twins Cup Championship. The Aprilia RS660 was first introduced in 2020, and not only did it see tremendous success in showrooms across the world, it claimed the Twins Cup Championship in its first attempt in MotoAmerica. We retook the championship in 2024 with Alessandro Di Mario, and we're here again to reclaim that title and stick with the #1 plate. Right out of the box, the Aprilia RS660 is the class leader and has been since it came out in 2020. Easy to develop into a competitive track day bike, race bike, and a championship bike like we see here in the Twins Cup. Aprilia makes motorcycles for any kind of riding, whether you want to go adventure riding, commuting, street riding, or take on your local track. And thanks to the continued support of our sponsors and the ongoing partnership with MotoAmerica, we're able to continue to develop this bike to be even more competitive moving forward.
MotoAmerica Superbike is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series, and by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash. Multiple race classes live on top sportsbook and DFS platforms all season long.
Superbike from Road America highlights race number 2.
Man, there were some lowlights, unfortunately for me, because these two guys, a couple of our main guys, got together. Two of the nice guys you're going to meet, Gagne and STK, had some problems right off the bat. And it was Cam Beaubier and Josh Herrin that would separate themselves from Bobby Fong early, as Ben Smith and Richie Escalante took advantage of a couple of our front runners not being there at the end. Sadly, STK had some bad luck. Josh Herrin runs off the track, gets past, goes out and runs a 2:09.4. Bobby Fong there in third. This looked like the battle was going to shape up for fourth at the time. So after Josh Herrin does a 2:09.4 to drop on the back of Beaubier, he goes back past Cam as Cam made a mistake down in turn 3, and then a few laps later, Greg, this, oh man, I just hate seeing it, right in the middle of the carousel. We don't see that very often. Cam's sitting there wondering what happened. Josh at that point then had a 7-second lead. He runs away, gets his double for the weekend, and obviously the team are happy. Bobby Fong ends up second, and then we have Richie Escalante bringing that bike. It sounded like it was either running out of gas or something was going on with it, but he soldiers home and brings that home in third.
So Josh Herrin gets to celebrate as we head off to break. We'll be back with more coverage from race 2.
Well, after an incredible Superbike race, we're shaping up for Mission King of the Baggers. Can Kyle Wyman do what he did yesterday and get the win? But what about this guy alongside him, Bradley Smith, gaining in confidence, gaining in stature, and getting used to riding here in MotoAmerica, King of the Baggers. His first season, of course, he came so close yesterday for the win. And what about this guy, James Rispoli, from the floor on Friday to the 2-lap challenge win and on the podium as well. It was a Harley-Davidson lockout yesterday. Are we going to see the same today? Here comes James coming back to the grid. And again, for the Harleys, they've got the new liveries, of course, a little bit unrecognizable throughout the weekend, but the 3 stunning liveries celebrating the new colors of the production bikes that are here in Mission King of the Baggers. There's a whole stacked grid. Hayden Gillam is coming from the Superbikes. He is now on the grid as well. But stay with us. There's more coming after this short commercial break.
From an early age, we race. It's part of who we are. It's in our DNA. For some, the need to keep pushing fuels our lives. At VP Racing, we pour everything we have into creating the industry's best products. For those who put it all on the line, whether it's the track or the trail or wherever you race, they say you can't win them all, but you can sure as hell try. VP Racing, win every race.
Hi, my name is Greg from Anthony's Leatherworks. We're located in Corona del Mar, California, but we service all over the country. We're a sponsor of MotoAmerica. We do crash damage repair, alterations, restoration. We deal with most major brands. We're authorized for Alpine Star, Dainese, Revit, and all other brands. One of the benefits of Anthony's Leatherworks is we have accessibility to factory parts. So if you bring a Dainese suit in or an Alpine Star suit in, we have the parts available to fix this properly. And we were trained by the manufacturers, especially Dainese, to learn how to not just patch something, but to make it work effectively so when you're on the track, it just doesn't look good, but it rides properly. Especially that has to do with alterations. When it comes to alterations, if something doesn't fit you, you tell me what you want to do, but we do it only to a point where we're not going to damage a suit. So when you wear it, it'll function properly. If you have any needs, look at our website at anthonysleatherworks.com. We take things in. Usually our turnaround time is about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then we can ship it back to you as well.
Every day brings a new challenge, a new goal, a new dream waiting to be realized. It's not just about reaching the finish line. It's about the journey, the drive, the determination. We are here to fuel your passion, your ambition, your motivation. Because every step forward, every triumph, big or small, starts with one question.
Oh yeah, fans everywhere. This is exactly the age you need to get them. Not as fans, but that's a future racer. Jason, you and I were talking during the break. How interested are we in the points?
Yeah, super interested now. I mean, Gagne had that problem at the start. Now he's 18 points back, but more importantly, look what Josh Herrin did. 2 points behind Beaubier now as we head off to the West Coast swing. Going to be crazy 2 weeks when we get to the Ridge and when we get to Laguna.
And Bobby Fong right there in the mix as well. Well, that'll do it for us here at Road America. You can see June 27th and 29th. We're at the Ridge in Shelton, Washington for our 4th round. Make sure you hang with us then. If we don't see you, then tune in to where you're watching right now. Thanks so much for joining us. For Hannah and Jason, I'm Greg. We will see you in Washington in a couple weeks' time.